guys, how's it going? Today we're going to start off with a little work out here in our raised bed vegetable garden. I want to give you an update on a few of the crops we started mid-season. We're going to harvest all of the Delicata squash and we're going to pull the plant because it looks horrible. It's covered in spider mites. Like, this part doesn't look too bad, but look at this. Oh, it looks so bad. Look at the spider mite damage. Look at the webbing. It's horrid. And we've just kind of held off spraying in here because it's edibles and I just don't feel good about that. So we just need to get rid of the plant, get rid of the evidence. When we're done with that, we're going to be planting our spinach and lettuce seeds, which we had to wait till it cooled off. And today is the first day that feels truly like fall is here. Looking at our 10-day forecast, we've got most days in the 70s as our high, 2 days in the low 80s, but then also a couple of days in the 60s. And greens just do not germinate when it's super hot out. And yesterday it was still in the 90s. So I just have been kind of trying to be patient to fill up the empty spots in here. So today I think we can get that done. When we're all through with that, I think I'm going to take the kids down to the garden center to pick out some pumpkins. I'm so excited about this. In fact, I will share a list with you guys of fall activities that Benjamin wanted to do. We looked at lists online the other night and he is very much so a list person. He likes to know what's going to happen. He likes to have a plan. So we planned out some fall activities and we will check a couple of them off the list today. A little breezy out this morning, but absolutely beautiful. See, the kitties are out with us. So real quick, just showed you the Delicata squash and you can see some of the fruit around here. It was very productive. There's a whole bunch right down in there. I don't normally grow Delicata, so I'm excited. These I think will store about 4 months in the root cellar. We're gonna harvest them today and then probably just leave them outside to cure in a sunny spot for about 4 or 5 days before we put them in the root cellar anyway. And supposedly this one is great for stuffing, baking, and even the skin will get very tender and you can eat it. In this bed we have a Sunny Boy tomato that I never staked. That was probably a mistake. So anyway, it's got a ton of fruit on it, so I'm just gonna leave it so we can glean whatever we can before the season ends. We've got our spring crop of carrots. We've been harvesting like crazy and I never thinned them, so they still look thick because as we've harvested, it's kind of just thinned out the rows. We've got our Lilliput zinnias. We started mid-season. I wanna say it was like, wasn't it July? We were in here, or very end of June. And they're just starting to put on some color. They're just a variety that has a little bit smaller blooms and they stay a little bit shorter as well. I did plant cucumbers in here and something ate them. They germinated and then they got eaten down, so we'll plant greens in there. We also planted carrots midsummer, so you can see what the summer crop looks like at this point. Also did not thin, probably should. Turning back around so I don't get too ahead of myself, we've got some of the zinnias. They're like raspberry. Why can I not remember the name? They're supposed to stay very short. We planted the same ones up here in these containers. One is a little bit more poofy than the other. Don't know why that is, but it looks like we're gonna have some blooms this fall, which is so fun with just a packet of seeds, you know, filling up a whole container. I love that. We've got the Cinderella peach zinnias right here. They're absolutely gorgeous. No, you can't be here. Get. Amazel basils, absolutely enormous, enormous. And I don't even worry about the blooms. That's the one thing about this variety of basil that's amazing. I was gonna make a joke about how it's a mazel. I'm not gonna go there, okay. It doesn't turn bitter when the plant blooms. A lot of the other varieties, it changes the taste once they start to bloom, and this one just stays true to taste the entire season, so they can just do their thing. And yeah, over here we have a few random onions that we could harvest. We've got bachelor's buttons, which I planted last year. They reseeded themselves, were beautiful this spring and summer. We pulled them out and let them come back from the seeds that they dropped. So we'll most likely see some blooms before the end of the season. Right here we've got some celery and we've also got some royal burgundy beans. These were planted mid-season and they are starting to bloom, so we should get some beans here pretty quick. We've got an enormous acorn squash plant. There are 3 of them. There's a whole bunch right there. They're just everywhere. They're thick in here, but I'm gonna wait. This plant still looks super healthy. Isn't that amazing that this one can look healthy, no mites? And then the one on this side is just so riddled with mites. I mean, maybe I should be thankful. Maybe that was the host plant in here for mites because nothing else has really suffered from it. I will sacrifice one plant to not have to spray in here. These are the Jack Be Little pumpkins, which was an experiment because I planted with maybe not enough time to have them fruit by Halloween. Look at that though, isn't that exciting? It took them forever to germinate. Douglas. I waited and waited and I thought, oh, something ate those seeds or something ate the plants, just like what happened with the cucumbers. But eventually they came up and then they stayed small for a really long time. And then they all of a sudden exploded. So I'm hoping that they have enough heat through this next little bit to produce a few pumpkins. And then we've got our peas, which are struggling a little bit. I think I'm going to pop a few more seeds in here. I mean, we will get some peas off of these, but you can see like back toward this area, those don't look good and I don't know why. I mean, maybe this bed is staying too wet. It is pretty darn wet in here. This one has had a history of holding on to a little bit too much moisture and it gets the most amount of shade. Anyway, so that's where we're at for this morning. I would like to get the squash all harvested. I've got my basket out here. Once we've got all the fruit picked, we will carefully cut the plant apart and pop it in a garbage bag, and it's going straight into the garbage can. It's not going in our pile. I'm gonna try not to touch anything else with the leaves. Oh, but it's just kind of a, ooh, do you hear the thunder? It was kind of faint. Paul said he saw lightning a couple times this morning too, so we'll see how this goes. But it's just a sort of close up on this spider mite damage. The first thing you will notice with spider mites, you won't see the webbing right in the very, very beginning. You'll just see kind of a stippled looking leaf, like green with a little bit of yellow dots on it. And it starts to look like almost like it's dry. So the best thing to do if you see that is to come in and look at the undersides of the leaves, because typically that's where they hang out. That is why it is so important when you are spraying for spider mites to hit the undersides of the leaves. Hit the tops too and hit the ground beneath. I mean, you want the plants to be dripping, but the underside is where they usually congregate, and they're sap sucking insects. They just sit there and they suck the sap out of the plant, which causes the yellow spots. They're taking the moisture out of those little areas, and eventually it gets so bad that the leaves will start to brown, like get really yellow, start to brown, and then they'll just die back. And in some severe cases, they completely defoliate a plant like they did with our limelight hydrangeas up front. They also defoliated this limelight hydrangea standard this year, and it thankfully has pushed new leaves. So eventually when the problem gets bad enough, you will notice webbing like that. And it's not like typical spider webs. It's more of an encasing sort of web. It encases the whole leaf. And if you look really closely, which I can't with this camera because this camera does not do close-ups very well, but you can see tiny little specks moving around in those webs. They're the worst. Hey kids, Samantha, good morning. Hi, baby. Yeah, I've been hearing the thunder.
Me too.
Yeah. Are you gonna go feed the fish?
No, we gotta go through the fountain.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right, let's get after it. They really are pretty. We ended up with 14 squash, which I think is pretty great. 14 squash and a scratched camera. I don't know if you guys can see that scratch, but I dropped it at one point. I'm thrilled with this harvest because we planted this from a really lanky, leggy, kind of sad looking plant from the garden center really late in the season. They usually have this little section of free plants that they just give away because it's getting too late and the plants are no longer happy in their little containers. So I thought, well, I've got these two raised beds that are open, so the acorn squash and then the delicata, so I may as well just pop these squash in and see what they do. So getting 14 squash out of that is great. Now 2 of them aren't quite at the ripeness that I would like them to be to harvest, but we'll see what they do after the curing process. This is kind of what you're looking for right here. You can see the color is really nice. The stems on all of them were very hard. They were like kind of woody, and the skin on this one is really tough. And I don't know if you need to have like the fingernail test on a squash like this, just like pumpkins, but I do think that the more mature the skin is, the longer they will store. So you can see like a squash that looks like this. This is the most immature looking one. This one, it feels hard, but it doesn't have the nice color yet. So this one we may not be able to eat or store. We'll just have to see what happens. So again, we are going to set these out for like 5 to 7 days or so. Usually they need to be exposed to sun for that long. And you know, you can wait until your plants completely die back and they're exposed to the weather just naturally. But in this case with the spider mite damage, I just want to get the plants out of here so that I can throw away all those spider mites instead of, you know, having them spread around to anything else. You could also, instead of leaving them out in the sun, you could put them inside in like an 80 to 85 degree area for that amount of time. It needs to be pretty warm for the curing process. After that, they should be ready to pop in the root cellar. Okay, so now we need to get rid of that plant. Hear the thunder? I just saw lightning and the sky's getting darker. So we're gonna have to hurry to get our greens in the ground. I am not going to plant up the bed that we just pulled the vine from today. I'm gonna give it a little bit of time. I just sprayed the whole bed, like the soil and the whole area around it with the Captain Jack's Dead Bug, which is a spinosad-based spray. And it's an organic spray. There's no blooms or anything that the bees are feeding on in this area, which is nice, but I want to make sure that the spider mites are gone from this space before I go ahead and plant something right where they were, and they were so thick. So I sprayed this today. I'll spray something else in the next few days just to make sure we take care of that problem before we go ahead and plant something else in its space. But we've got plenty of other area to plant in. I want to do spinach in this bed right here, the whole thing. And then in the 2 spots where we had cucumbers, I would like to plant our lettuce, and I've got a couple different kinds. So right here we have our giant Nobel spinach. It's a favorite of mine. It's got a thick leaf, but it's very tender and it doesn't get bitter tasting. And then for our lettuce, I've got a couple of different kinds. One I have tried, it's the Casey Butterhead, Butterhead lettuce Casey. I didn't grow it in the raised beds though, I've grown it in the greenhouse. It did beautifully in the greenhouse winter before last. It creates the most picturesque looking heads of lettuce. And then there's another one called, let's see, I was going to do Salanova, but I think that this one is a really good one for greenhouse production, so I might save this one to plant this winter. So I think I'll go ahead with the Tom Thumb Butterhead lettuce, which is a really nice lettuce. Both of them are Butterhead that I'm planting out here. I really like that kind. So I'm going to grab my fertilizer and my kneeling pad, and we're just going to get these seeds planted. With the spinach, I usually go roughly 1/4 inch deep. Lettuce seeds about 1/8 of an inch deep. Roughly. I make little wells with my hand, like I make little planting trenches and just kind of sprinkle the seed in and rough the soil over it. We already have drip set up to these areas. In fact, it's running right now, so we know it's working. Look at that. Woo. I do need to weed a little bit. We've got tons of spurge. See this stuff right here, like this low growing, kind of purplish looking stuff? It's everywhere. So I'm going to weed. We're going to pet the kitty. We're going to put in some fertilizer and then we'll plant. Let's do it. Now where's Russell? He was just here. Heard you guys fighting. Whoa, that's a weird shaped one, huh?
And we got
Oh, those are cute.
And then we got this wonky one right here.
Oh, that's a beauty.
And then we got this wonky one.
That is a little wonky.
And then one little big tail.
What should we make with those? Thanks, babe.
Carrot soup.
Carrot soup? Okay, sounds good to me. Okay, just a few pea seeds to fill in the gaps. Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong bag. Nope. Yeah, that looks better.
The biggest one
Oh,
right here.
whoa!
I found that one.
That is just amazing. Just popping a couple in at each one of the little bamboo stakes, and we'll just bury them about, I don't know, 1/2 to 1 inch deep or so. Okay, I think that'll do. Grab my carrot and my seeds. All right, guys, we made it. We got everything in the ground. It has gotten a bit darker out here, but it hasn't started to rain. After I planted the seeds, I did water them in because I don't know how much rain we're actually going to get versus how much wind we're gonna get, which we never know. It usually skews more wind than it does rain around here. That looks awesome.
It had none. It didn't have the like stem.
Oh, really?
I just
That is a nice one.
And then, oh, that's not connected.
Very nice. Are you guys ready to go pick out pumpkins?
Yep, push.
Yes, please. Okay, let's go. Just as a quick recap, we've got a few more pea seeds going in there. We've got our Casey butterhead lettuce in this bed, which they were pelleted seeds. And if you get pelleted seeds, they are easier to plant because it makes the seed bigger because it's a coating, a clay coating around the seed, makes them easier to handle so you can space them out a little bit easier and then you don't waste as many seeds, but they only have about a year shelf life. The germination rate goes way down if you don't use them within the year that you bought them. So it's a good idea to work your way through those types. And then in this bed, we had the Tom Thumb butterhead lettuce, which was not a pelleted seed. So those are gonna come up thick. And then in this last bed here, it's full of spinach. And you guys are doing a good job of thinning the carrots. Oh, that's a little baby.
All
Yep.
of these didn't have any stems, and I just pulled them out. I found out they were getting loose over time.
Oh, cool. And then again, this bed is going to lay just empty for a while until I'm sure that we've got the spider mite problem under control. Okay, so we're gonna run down to the garden center. We're gonna pick up just a few pumpkins. I think we'll be making several trips. My mom actually contracted with a farmer in the area to grow pumpkins and squash and some specialty things so that they could have them down at the store. And they typically don't sell those things, but I think it's a really fun new venture, I guess, for them. So that's where we're gonna head. We'll show you what we end up with, but I do wanna share that little list that Benjamin and I came up with the other night. They already have check marks on them because Benjamin thought that we should check them off as we wrote them down, not as we completed them. I'm going with it. So we've got leaf painting, baking pumpkin muffins and bread, watching a Halloween movie while we snuggle in a cozy blanket, plant fall flowers, which when we came to that one, Benjamin looked at me and he's like, "Do you think you're gonna plant some fall flowers?" I told him, "Yeah, I think it probably will." Enjoy a walk on a cool day. The kids love going for adventure walks. Bake a pumpkin pie, decorate the house for fall, which we wrote once and then Benjamin wanted to cross it out and then decided we should write it again, saying that we only have 10% done and we need to go 90% more to be done with that one. Go on a hayride, roast marshmallows, relax by a warm fire, and drink hot chocolate. Doesn't that seem like the perfect fall list of activities to do? So anyway, going and getting a pumpkin is not on this list, but it should be. I don't know how that didn't make it on there, but we'll get some fall flowers probably while we're down there as well. They're excited. Here we are. Oh, fun. How fun. Look at all the mums and the pumpkins. You excited? Okay, why don't you guys start picking out some pumpkins?
How about this?
I like that.
I'll get the black one.
Hello. Oh boy, look at this. Now, do you have a band you would rather us pick from?
No,
Okay,
they're all free. Yeah.
free reign. Okay. Oh, you want to help with that one, bud? We do need some that size. I like the,
Oh, this is the grace.
hey, what's that one called?
Peanut.
A peanut
You
squash.
like that?
Oh, good, they're all pre-marked.
No, they're not all.
Oh, good job. Oh, that's a beauty.
Good job.
Yeah,
Growing of them. I think it's kind of fun.
it's really fun.
Come on, let's go, Samantha.
Oh, there's a whole bunch right there.
It's starting to roll.
Yes, it is.
Can I bring it?
Yes,
Thank you. How pretty orange this we one can is. bring these ones.
that one's pretty.
Benjamin, we can bring these ones.
Oh, a Turk's turban. That one's neat. Okay, you guys, we need some more big ones. Should we get like this one right here?
Oh, Mama, no.
Oh yeah, that is a great one. Let's make some room for that. Ugh. Oh, perfect. Okay. What do you think of that one? That one's beautiful. Yeah, you want to put it there?
And then I was just putting the burlap over there for right now. That's fine.
Oh, I love that one.
I'll bring it right here so we can get more.
Okay, I'll go get a cart. Mercy.
Oh, look at what I just see. Look at. Somebody left that.
Oh my gosh. Whoa.
Here, let me get this one out.
You want a peanut? Oh, I like this one right here.
It's hard to take.
Oh, got it. Are these like little pie pumpkins? Like a couple of those, yes.
You want, okay, that's perfect.
That is perfect. That one, I'm gonna need to get another cart for that
Isn't
one.
it pretty?
It is pretty. Whoa. Oh. Good job.
I want this one.
You want the blue Hubbard?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, kiddos, I think we're done for now. Well, that was a fun outing, running down to the garden center. Ended up with a beautiful selection of pumpkins and 4 mums, which I typically don't do mums, but they've got some beautiful ones that are inexpensive down there. So I thought, you know, if we just put those in, not in an arrangement or a container, just slipped them into an arrangement like this, we could either pop them out when they're done blooming, and I got them when they're pretty much just all in bud stage. There's very little color on them yet, so they should last us a while. Once they're done, I can either swap them for new ones, or we can just take them out and scoot the pumpkins over and make it a little bit more of a wide walkway. But look at how fun that is. We haven't done an abundant pumpkin entryway for a while up here. Like, it's been a number of years, and Benjamin especially loves to do this sort of thing. In fact, he tucked one up right there on the railing, and he also put 2 next to our faux boxwood spirals, which are doing great, by the way. That one's tipped a little. I need to tip it back. But look at these gorgeous mums. They're in enough color to where you can see they're kind of that sunset vibe, the yellow apricot and then that beautiful smoky pink, but full of buds. So we'll really be able to enjoy a beautiful show for several weeks. I just tucked them in with a saucer underneath so it'd protect our stairs. And then we just started unloading the pumpkins and putting them all over the place. So much fun. Oh, there's a pumpkin up by Russell too. Russell, you're making this kind of the perfect vibe up here. Orange kitty and all the orange pumpkins. Yeah, taking a bath. Yep, the sky has been full of lightning and thunder, and it's super dark coming our way. So I think we're in for even more rain than this, which is so wonderful. Kind of the perfect kickoff for fall for us. We've done a tiny bit of decorating inside, like on Benjamin's list, we've done 10%, but I do have several tubs sitting there that now I feel like we can get into it. Before, when it's still in the 90s and it's still so hot, it still feels like it's full on summer, and it's kind of hard to kick into that autumn vibe until it feels like it. Anyway, I don't clean my pumpkins usually. I don't treat them with anything. They last just fine until I'm ready usually to swap them out for something more Christmassy. Kind of a no fuss sort of situation here. And you guys, that is going to do it for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully I will have some seed reports for you soon with those greens. Hopefully we start seeing some action. Usually they're pretty quick to come up, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.